Hello, I am Lost Generation, this is MediEvil, let's play. This time I'll be playing Scarecrow Fields, which is a huge improvement on the graveyard and the ant caves. I'll say more once I'm into it. Scarecrow Fields has multiple enemies. You can probably guess that Scarecrows are one of them. It looks much more interesting than the other areas. There's actual background, even if you can't enter it. I know people talk about waist-high fences, but at least gives me something to look at, and not just endless tunnels. If you want the chalice, you have to ignore that. Speaking of multiple enemies, the other one is the crows. They die in one hit to any weapon, but they're really annoying to hit. Since they don't do much damage, I should be ignoring them. The Scarecrows, on the other hand, have two attacks. They can summon more crows. He didn't, because I hadn't killed those ones. Or they do the spinning attack. It does roughly 15 damage a hit, but it'll hit multiple times in like multiple hits a second, so they can drain your health quite quickly. And I figured I should show why I was struggling before I got the broadsword. The hammer still does plenty of damage for this point of the game, but it's much harder to hit enemies than it was with the sword. And since the Scarecrows rarely stay still, that is a problem. Again, I should be ignoring the crows. They're not a threat. The other enemy, there are 4 in this level, is the zombie farmer. And sometimes, especially when they die, they say ooh-ar, which is a Somerset word popularized by the scrumpy and western band the Wurzels. I went to school in the West Country, so I have got a friend who's going to be providing some translations for me, and they'll be down at the bottom as subtitles. That is a hint, by the way, for the 4th enemy type that I'll be seeing soon. There's also a merchant gargoyle over here. Energy vial that I actually need this time. I'm going to fill up on crossbow bolts again. It's still the only good ranged weapon I have. And I'm also going to show that the enchanted broadsword is really powerful, but it's not cheap. It drains at about 1% of the enchantment per second, so 100 gold gets you 100 seconds of a very powerful weapon. It only goes down while you're using it, so the best bet is to switch to the hammer for weaker enemies, like the farmers, and only use the broadsword on things like Scarecrows. These robots are the 4th and final enemy. They're more of a mini-boss. You shoot at the head until it falls off, then dash through the legs, and shoot them in the back. I don't know why they haven't covered the back. Maybe it was easier to get into, maybe imps aren't very smart. For comparison, that guy died in 2 hits, as opposed to 3 or 4, so it's roughly double the damage. Bats are exactly the same as crows, they're small and hard to hit. 1 hit kills them. The club is actually useful in this level, because for the first time in a while, there are fires. And fire is still really powerful, I just haven't had a chance to use it lately. Oh, you can set those straw huts on fire, but I don't know why. It doesn't do anything. My guess is they originally planned to let you destroy them. And if you didn't destroy them, they'd spawn enemies infinitely. But since that would make getting the chalice too easy, now they just run out of enemies eventually. I don't know why that's there. But hey, at least they left the fires in, so I have yet another way to kill enemies. Those windmill blades will hurt Dan if they touch him. And I'm going to speed up this video because using an entire spring in one go is quite slow. Not sure my friend's given a completely accurate translation there. the enchanted broadsword really chews through those guys, but I'm already down to 68%. So, if I wanted a better way to instantly kill a Scarecrow, chicken drumsticks. They act like hand grenades. Really. You throw them on the ground, a second later, anything nearby dies. You can also... It turns enemies into roast chickens, and you can eat those to regain 20 health, though I don't know how Dan eats them. This mini-boss now shoots at you. Best bet is to strafe while you're shooting, and put your shield up, but I forgot to do both of those things. So yeah, the chicken drumsticks are... Certain enemies are immune, such as those mini-bosses. If an enemy has to be killed with a specific weapon or shot in a specific place, then they'll be immune, and all bosses are immune. But any mook, even if they have a lot of health, like the Scarecrows do, it's an instant kill. So if you're careful with them and know when to use them, the chicken drumsticks are very powerful. And that book is informing me about a new thing in this level. One of the many reasons I like this level compared to the last two. There is going to be a new skull and crossbones chest. Now it isn't just orbs. I don't know why I'm using a hammer on this guy. It isn't just orbs, there will also be... Some of them will contain Kolkatora the Serpent Lord. The other thing I like, the corn is lava. If you go in, you die. Well, technically it's not lava, there are monsters in the corn that drag Dan down and kill him. But the result's the same. So that chest has Kolkatora in it. He's a ghostly serpent who follows you around killing enemies, and he is also a one-hit kill. On top of that, he hates parodies and banjos. Bye, Wurzel. However, he has trouble hitting the crows, just like I do. I'll be going back to that hole later. In theory, you can go in the corn for a split second and get out before the monsters reach you, but I don't want to risk it because they are fast. Also, while you're in the corn, you're slow to a crawl. Here, I'm trying to get a closer look at the monsters in the corn, and getting a zoom in on Cole was just a bonus. Oh, there it goes. Does he look like a farmer to you? So, similar to zombies before, as soon as you set these guys on fire, they start flinching and they're not a threat. However, one thing I forget here is that unlike the early zombies, it's not a guaranteed kill on these guys. So I'm about to be surprised by him. Before I started this LP, I did look up on YouTube to see if there were others and if it was worth doing, and they all seem to really have trouble with that windmill. There are 3 blades. Once 3 of them have gone by, run for it. If you try and go in between blades, you're going to get hit. Also, I threw a chicken drumstick there, but while it has an area of effect, it's not a very big one, so the first one missed. And now for the gauntlet. This big stone is... it's a one-hit kill, even if it just rolls over Dan's toes. So you have to go in a hole, hold triangles to crouch. It only works if you're not moving, otherwise Dan walks around with his shield up. It's sort of similar to the shield in Ocarina of Time, only this game came first. Not that I'm implying anything. I'll speed up this spring as well, but going into sort of why I like this level, people have asked me when I said I didn't dislike the other 2, why I dislike them. There's more to look at, it doesn't all look the same. There's 4 enemy types, and some of them are actually threatening. There's a gauntlet of traps, though this one's broken. I get hit by those souls multiple times and don't take any damage. Like here, I'm going to land on the higher ground and it'll go right through me. But generally, I just like this level. It's fun to play. You get a new chest. In my case, I have the chicken drumsticks. But even if you only had the broadsword, it would still be The enemies are threatening, but at the same time you have a new powerful weapon to use on them. I'm not sure how to explain why I enjoy it, but I know I prefer it to the last two. And now it's time to go back to the barn. The gauntlet is generally easier on the way back. Though that won't stop me getting hit in about 4 seconds. Yeah, I have a confession, I'm not actually good at this game, I just like it. Run away from the giant... I think it's a flour mill? What is that? No, come to think of it, I'm not convinced all of those things are real farming equipment. Just a hunch. Right, it's time for our last zombie farmer, so let's find out what wisdom he has for Dan. Right after I set him on fire. That was anticlimactic. I finally realised that I should be using the small sword on the bats and crows. That way I don't waste my enchantment, and it's much easier to hit things than with the hammer. Alright, you're actually meant to push the hay bale here, but I just forgot that for a second. But there's... what looks like a stone up there is actually a switch, which... it's not obvious, actually. I'm not going back up there for that because they gave me a silver shield earlier in the level, so I don't know why they're now giving me a copper shield. So apparently this game was heavily inspired by Tim Burton. Can you tell? That's opened up a new path through the corn, and I can finally go get the chalice. There's also another merchant gargoyle, I'm not sure why. And a life bottle! I haven't had one of those for quite a while now. Oh, enchanting the sword is always 100 gold, it's not based on how much is left to go, so your best bet is to use up the entire enchantment before you buy another one. And there... that was deliberate, I did want to show what happens when you go in the corn. As I said, in theory, if you're very quick, you could get out before that thing reaches you, but as you saw, they're fast. Since I'm only refilling one health bottle, I didn't speed this up. I will point out, when you're actually playing the game, it doesn't feel as long, but when I'm watching it back, it does seem longer, so that's why I sped up the other springs. So, I still have to go through that gauntlet one last time, but as you've already seen it in both directions, I will speed it up this time round. On second thoughts, maybe I should have just cut it out entirely, that was embarrassing. And time for our first gargoyle of the level. And last.
Pumpkin Gorge, dead ahead. The nursery to Gallomere's favourite side dish. Step inside and understand the true horror of fruit gone bad.
Yeah, I generally find these levels much more imaginative than the graveyard. Speaking of gargoyles, this guy's finally remembered that he's meant to be talkative.
Gaining allies in the Hall of the Heroes is the way forward. Hack, choppity chop, off with a few zombies' heads, and it thinks it can redeem itself in battle. You still have a long way to go to rank as the best.
However, he also remembered that he's generally a jerk. So that's what he says, the statue isn't filled in much so far. And I can't go up the stairs yet, so I have to talk to Woden the Mighty again.
By God, Fortescue, you must be the luckiest corpse ever to walk the face of the earth. I have something here I can lend to you. Take it or leave it, but remember, I'm only doing this for the sake of Gallomere's doomed population, and not for you, you gangly buffoon!
Gee, thanks, more money. Oh well, you can't get a weapon every time. Not in this one, at least. Unless I'm misremembering, I think in the next game there are more weapons, so you do get a weapon with every chalice. Having completed Scarecrow Fields, 2 levels open up. However, because you unlock weapons in a set order, I highly recommend doing Pumpkin Gorge first. The other level is the Sleeping Village, but I'm having some trouble with diagonals at the moment. Oh no, I just killed you! Where's my broadsword?
I threw me pitchfork at your dog to keep quiet. Now something's telling me that you avoiding me. Come on now, darling, you got something I need. 'Cause I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres and you've got 43. Now I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key.
Thank you for watching.